Welcome back to Lawyers of Souls 2. The person that we have here is an attorney. She is a certified yoga instructor.
I am the founder of Pepitone Family Law. We're based in Atlanta. I am also a certified yoga instructor. I'm also a certified Reiki healer. And that was another part of that journey, learning who I was, who I wasn't, who I wanted to be. I had to perform surgery on myself in doing my own divorce last year. I stared at my computer screen and I was just like frozen. The only place you can really find true safety and security is within. That's, I think, what it took for me and what it gave me. There's a tremendous amount of grief that comes along with divorce that people just don't talk about. Grief needs a witness in order to be processed.
Welcome back to Lawyers of Souls 2. Happy New Year, everyone. Thank you so much for sticking with us. I hope you had a great 2025. And if you didn't, there's always 2026. This is why we're here. So we're going to start over and take another stab at this thing called life. So this is a space, as you know, where we talk about the lives of lawyers outside of the courtroom. And today's no different. I'm your host, Winnie Jean-Pierre, and I'm so glad to have you here for another episode. This one is very different. This is a tender one, if you say. This is going to be great for anyone who went through any type of challenge, whether it's a divorce, a breakup, losing a job, losing a loved ones. We are going to talk about this, not from a legal standpoint, but from a human perspective. We are going to talk about just, taking a different route, dealing with life from on a different perspective, being a different person. And the person that we have here is an attorney. She is a certified yoga instructor. So we are going to talk about dealing with these challenges. As I mentioned, divorce, losing a loved ones, losing jobs, whichever, just any type of challenges, and how to get through it through movement and stillness and how to find your way back. So this conversation is about listening to your body when your mind wants to do something else, like being a lawyer and just wanted to have control of it all. So as I said, this episode is for somebody who's just going through a challenge and how to overcome that, and maybe using yoga as your way out. I think I might start doing yoga after this. So take a deep breath. This is a safe space here, and we are going to welcome Ashley. I'm going to have her introduce herself. Hi, Ashley. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you for having me. Yeah. My name's Ashley Pepitone. I am the founder of Pepitone Family Law. We're based in Atlanta. I am also, as you said, a certified yoga instructor. I don't actually teach. Disclaimer, I will talk about this, but I got the certification as just part of my journey in learning who I was, who I wasn't, who I wanted to be. I'm also a certified Reiki healer. Again, that was another part of that journey. We'll talk about that as well. I wear a lot of hats. I'm a mom. That's definitely first and foremost. I'm a mom. And I had to perform surgery on myself in doing my own divorce last year. So I'm excited to talk about that and how it changed the way I practice and reinforced the way I want to run my firm.
Great. So let's just jump right into it. How did you get into law school? Why law?
Oh, so I didn't, you know, I look back on my childhood and I read a book a while ago. I think it was a Robert Greene book. And he was talking about finding kind of your purpose and looking at what you did when you were a kid and what you played with and what were your instincts when you were a child. And this was after I went to law school, but I was like, oh, okay, I did the right thing. All my Barbies when I was little were lawyers.
Oh, that's interesting.
But I kind of lost my way. A little bit after, college or during college, I really had no idea what I wanted to do. I tried out a bunch of different majors. I landed with Spanish just because I studied abroad and that's what I had the most credits in. And I was always really interested in language and different learning about different cultures. So I wanted to go to Costa Rica and I did. And then I was like, well, shoot, I need to graduate. I guess Spanish will get me there the fastest. So I graduated with this random degree in Spanish, not like Spanish education, just Spanish language and literature. Which what are you going to do with that other than teach? So I taught Spanish for a year. And then when my now ex-husband and I moved down to Georgia, he had a job teaching and I knew I didn't want to keep teaching. So I got a job at Nordstrom and all of a sudden they had me on this path to become a buyer really quickly. And so that involved a move to Seattle and I didn't want to move to Seattle because I didn't know anybody on the West Coast at all. Um, Now it doesn't sound so bad, but back then that was terrifying. So I went back to what did I always kind of see myself doing, and it was kind of on a whim that I quit my job at Nordstrom, I got a job at a law firm, and I signed up to take the LSAT, and that was that.
The rest is her story. That is interesting. We have a couple of things in common. So maybe I'll talk to you offline about Costa Rica. Just people who watch this to have an idea, and my close friends know that I'm making a list of countries that I'm going to move to in the next 2 years or maybe this year. And I travel a lot. I've never been to Costa Rica, but I kid you not, every time I do research, it just pop up. Costa Rica pops up a lot in Portugal. Um, for Costa Rica, I guess, I kind of put in Chat GPT, like, this is what I'm looking for lifestyle wise. How was your experience in Costa Rica?
Oh, it was incredible. The people are incredible. It's just like the most beautiful place I've ever seen in my life. I'm sure it's changed tremendously. I bet I would be sad if I went back now because it's been so long. I'm sure it's become more commercialized and more Americanized in a lot of ways, and that would make me really sad. But at the same time, I'm sure there are still places like we stayed away from the beaches that were real touristy. So I hope that they're still kind of more pristine and more authentic to the true Costa Rican culture. But if you can find those spots, it's unbelievable. Just an amazing place.
Yeah, I think when I do, I put definitely people. That's important for me. I whenever I travel, I really just search. Okay, is it people friendly? And for the most part, maybe 2 countries I've been to I didn't find, but that's important because I wanted to connect with the culture. And just like you, I don't want to be where everybody is and the tourist areas. I kind of like want to branch out and see what's out there because that's when you really experience the true culture, especially for food. You're not gonna find like true Mexican food or true whatever wherever you go and in the area because it's just gonna be just kind of like the US. But Costa Rica pops up because I always put nature. I'm like, okay, I want somewhere where that's green, where you can kind of be one with nature. So that's where Costa Rica comes in. And then Port Okay, it's on the list for this year. I think you just kind of just made sure that it's confirmed. So I'm going to work on that. My next question for you is, how are you feeling this season of your life? And, I know it's a new year, but how do you feel? How's Ashley doing?
I I feel good. I feel that life is this year in my life is going to be one of transition. Last year was one of transition as well. But I think that you know, last year was the Chinese Year of the Snake, this year is the Chinese Year of the Horse, and last year was a lot of shedding for a lot of people, and this year is, symbolically one of moving forward and charging forward. So I'm excited, but I'm also tired. If I'm being honest, I'm so tired,
Yeah.
but I know that there's no rest to be had, so I'm up for the challenges. Yeah.
I'm so glad you said that. So, I also have my own law firm, but before, actually, while I had my own law firm, in the very beginning, I worked for big, I guess I can say it now. It's been a while. I worked for Amazon, as well. And, um, I was the one person on my team that when people asked me how I was doing, I was like, great, great. And I was really tired. So the moment that I start saying it, people ask me how you doing. I said I'm tired. Then I started making changes in my life and taking steps to not be so tired. I was overworked. There was just a lot going on, and they wanted me to move to Seattle. Just FYI. Yeah, I work from home, and they make a big announcement. They say everybody's moving to Seattle, and I said, my job description said that it was remote.
Right.
Like it was remote by design. So I said, no, I'm not moving to Seattle. But yeah, I'm sorry to hear that you're tired, but I am glad that you know that. And I am praying and hoping that you're doing something about it.
Well, there's nothing bad or wrong about being tired, right? As long as you recognize it and know what to do with it. Being tired is just a part of the human condition. It's something that happens to everybody. And so, ignoring it or pretending that it doesn't exist is not healthy either. So it's just a season in my life where I know I need to um nurture myself as well as others. And that's that's definitely something that I'm gonna be focusing on this year.
Yeah, that's good. So, in the beginning, you mentioned that you got divorced last year. Um, what did that take from you and or give you?
What did it, take from me? I mean, there's the obvious, feeling of safety of a family unit and, um, that isn't always, real. That feeling of safety that you have is not always sometimes it can be kind of holographic. Right, and that's for everyone. I mean, even those in the most solid of marriages, there could be a car accident and you could lose your person tomorrow. So that feeling of safety that you have to find is really within yourself. And that's I think what it took for me and what it gave me. It took for me, I guess, the illusion that I can find safety in anyone other than myself. And that sounds really that sounds really depressing, I think, but at the same time, it's not. It needs to be it's something that I think a lot of people don't realize that the only place you can really find true safety and security is with them.
Yeah, yeah. I think you that was a great answer. Um, so you do family law. I'm sure you've advised people on too many occasions on situations like that. How was it living it from a different angle?
Yeah. So, like I said earlier, it did feel like performing surgery on myself when I needed to actually sit down and draft the paperwork. I couldn't do it. I could not do it. I stared at my computer screen and I was just like frozen. So I I contacted my friend Regina. I was like, "Look, I need you to draft these documents for me. I'll tell you exactly what they need to say, but I can't do it and I can't file it myself." She's like, "No problem, I got you." So she did it all for me. But even just going through, the process of negotiating everything, and we didn't fight over anything really. There were a couple of moments where we had, a couple of tense moments, but we really didn't fight over anything. There was nothing financially hidden or anything like that, and so we knew what we were looking at going into it. We're both, I think, good parents, and we both respect each other as co-parents, and so, there was none of that push and pull, but it did give me I used to talk to people, through their divorces, and I would basically say, "I'm not your therapist," and I think I actually have said that. I'm very blunt, um, and I and blunt because I don't want people to think that I am, I don't know, like, sugarcoating. I just don't want people to I want people to trust me, and I think that the best way to gain people's trust is to be very frank with them. That's just always been my style. I joke that it's because 'cause I'm from Boston originally, but that doesn't give you the carte blanche to just be jerks.
Yeah.
I try to I try to, like, straddle that line, um, but I used to tell people I'm not your therapist, and especially when I was billing people by the hour. When I was working for other firms and before I started my own, we do all flat fees. But when I was billing by the hour and somebody would want to talk to me about their emotions and their feelings, and I was charging them like $375 an hour, I could not in in my heart, I could not allow them to keep talking to me for that much money when I couldn't give there's nothing wrong if you're a great therapist and you're charging that much, but I'm not a therapist and I can't give you the tools to handle these emotions that you need. I can write up the legal paperwork and I can tell you what you're likely to get in terms of child support, but I can't tell you how to work through these emotions. So I used to really cut people off when they would start to talk about that stuff. And then when I went through my own divorce, I was and not everybody's like this, but I just bled everywhere. I was I couldn't contain my emotions um and some people are like that, and when I encounter them now as my clients, I just let them talk to me more than I used to because, first of all, I'm not charging them by the hour, so I don't feel that guilt of, like, I'm stealing from them. I do still tell them, "I'm happy to listen to you, but I'm not trained in this way, and so I will give you the name of a therapist, but you can keep yapping. I will I will listen, and I will hold space for that because I know that sometimes I needed to talk and I needed to get things off my chest, and, my friends were sometimes not available or tired of listening to me, so it would just be I wanna be there for people in that way as well, as long as I'm honest with them about what my services include and what I'm actually licensed to provide.
Yeah. And I appreciate that you said that. And I don't know. I guess, I attract that kind of energy. A lot of attorneys who come on here say things like that. I am also very honest. My motto is I think when you're honest with people, you give them the tools they need to make the best decision for themselves, right? I never want to be the type of attorney somebody come to me and say, "Well, if you had told me this, then I would have made a different decision." So I just tell you like, "Hey, your chances of losing is zero, and if you want to move forward, that is something that you were aware of and you knew from the very beginning." So that's great. Um, it sounds like you had some support from your friend, and I'm happy to hear that. How important is that for people to have? It doesn't have to be friends. Like some people don't have friends, and I used to be the type of person to be like, "What do you mean you don't have friends?" But I've learned over the years that it's very possible. How important it is for people if they're going through a divorce. And I've heard that before, that it feels like a loss, like someone died or something died, right? How important is it for them to have somebody to talk to?
Yeah, there's a tremendous amount of grief that comes along with a divorce that people just don't talk about, and, I just before we got on, I was just scrolling through Instagram, killing some time, and I actually heard the quote, I can't remember who it was now. I think it was somebody being interviewed by Jay Shetty, I think, and he said
I love him, by the way.
I love Jay Shetty. I love Jay Shetty, yeah. But whoever he was interviewing, I could look it up, but whoever he was interviewing was saying grief has to be witnessed. And that just absolutely hit home. Grief needs a witness in order to be processed. You cannot, because you will just it'll keep eating at you. It'll just be this never-ending vicious cycle, and I think once it's witnessed and acknowledged, then you can really start to heal from it. So that's one of the things that I try to provide my clients without, again, slipping into the therapist role is just kind of a container to put your grief in. And then I have lots of tools that I suggest for that as well. Journaling is great. If you don't have a bunch of friends, a huge social network to depend on, and you can't usually I feel like people who have a million friends don't have very many that um or might have just a couple that have that level of depth. You can't there's not enough time in life to develop and cultivate 12 friendships that have deep, deep roots, right? Like, I've got, I think, 2 friends on this planet who I can really go into the deep with, just because I'm limited in time. I'm sure that there are plenty of other people out there who I could connect with on a deeper level, but I really only have time to connect with a couple on that level, and the people who know me and see me and understand me are the ones that I'm going to go that deep with. So, but if you don't have those people in your life, then journaling is huge.
Yes.
It's huge. It's huge. But the grief needs a container and it needs to be witnessed. So if you have to pay somebody to witness your grief, then pay a therapist.
I agree.
Or a lawyer if you find the right one.
Whatever works for you. Whatever works for you, do it. Um, how did you get into yoga?
Oh, okay. That was like 6.5 years ago. I was on a um a health journey, let's call it. I I had been experiencing chronic hives since I was like 16 years old, and it took me a really long time to finally get diagnosed with Lyme disease, and I thought that the hives were from Lyme disease. I think I was diagnosed with the Lyme disease like, I don't know, 10 years ago now. And then more recently, I went vegetarian. I actually went vegan for a little while to try to figure out, okay, maybe this is all inflammation associated with the disease. If I cut out inflammatory foods, then maybe that will cure the hives. So it did. I went vegan and I was able to go off the prednisone that I had been on for over a decade. Immediately, I was able to stop taking all the medications that I was on right away. Um, but as it turns out, my friend Kelsey sent me a podcast just a few years ago and was like, I think this is what you actually have. And it was about this alpha gal syndrome, which is another tick-borne illness that makes you allergic to meat. So I realized I'm actually just allergic to the meat of land mammals. So I can eat fish, I can eat dairy, I can eat poultry, but I don't because I just don't like it anymore. Um, so anyway, as part of all that, you go into it's like you give a mouse a cookie, right? So I went vegan and then it's like, well, I don't know, I met somebody who was like, come to my yoga studio with me. And I'm like, I guess this is what you do when you go vegan, right? Like you sort of yeah, yeah. So, it was just like a domino effect, but I fell in love with it, and it really wasn't the physical I went for the physical benefits because I was wanting to I lost a bunch of weight when I went vegan, but I wanted to really be more healthy and not just be, skinny fat. So, I was trying to build strength, and, I found this incredible yoga studio right near my house and really felt a sense of community there, and yeah, that was about 6.5 years ago. I started practicing hot yoga really intensely, like, sometimes twice a day, and, it was just what I needed in that season of my life.
That's good. How did that help throughout your divorce?
Like I said, I went there originally for the physical benefits, but what I found when I actually started practicing yoga is that the mental benefits were much stronger for me, because I'm still not flexible at all. I can't do a split. I can't do half the poses well that I would like to be able to do, but, the practice of yoga on and off the mat is what is really, has stuck with me, and I think that I learned so much about my own mental strength, and the limitations of my mental strength as well. Um, so that's yoga kinda gave me a place to return to, um, within myself that was steady when everything else felt like it was out of control,
Yeah.
as long as I remembered to go there.
What advice would you give to people who are going through whatever, and in terms of finding instead of in terms of them finding an outlet, because like you need something to release all that energy or feelings or whatever it is that you're going through. How important is that?
Yeah. I I think it's tremendously important, and I think if it can be something physical, it's even more important because, I mean, it's true what they say that emotions live in your body and they need to be felt and they need to be released and they need to be released through physical activity, and if not, you will get sick. If you allow those emotions to be stored, yeah, in your body, it's incredible. I mean, I've done so much work on, through the yoga training, through the Reiki training, I spent a whole year doing an energy healing course, and I it's so true. You will feel your emotions in different parts of your body if you're paying attention to where you're feeling it. You will get sick there if you don't address it. If you don't move your body and move that energy out, then eventually it has nowhere to go and it'll just fester. And I promise you, eventually you will have some kind of severe health problems there. I've seen it happen.
Yeah, I believe you. And I'm one of those people who went through something like that. Um and it's also when they say, "Oh, you got to listen to your body. If you don't listen to your body is talking to you." It's a real thing. It's a real thing. And that can show up in different ways. Sometimes you sad just because you sad, but sometimes you sad because there's something else going on, or you feel frustrated, or you angry, or whatever it is. So I think that's definitely important. For those of us who don't know what Reiki is, it Reiki or Reiki?
Reiki.
Reiki. What is that?
Reiki is energy. It's a form of energy healing. Yeah. So it's basically we're gonna get super woo.
It's fine. Take me there.
Yeah, it is basically, tapping into the source energy that connects all of us in order to heal yourself from within.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how did you get into that?
Um,
Is it the tribe, Ashley? Did you meet somebody at yoga and they say, "Hey"?
no, no, okay, so I have this friend from high school, his name is Mike. We were never super close friends, like acquaintances, but we ended up, we still followed each other on Instagram years later. I think he lives in New York now, like upstate New York, um, with his wife. His wife's name is Anna. I've never met Anna in person, but I started following her on Instagram because I followed Mike and he posted about her and she seemed really interesting. And, she is a Reiki instructor, a Reiki healer, a Reiki instructor, and she does all these workshops, and so I connected with her and I was like, "Yeah, I wanna do this," and we've become good friends since then. We still never met in person, but she's one of my good friends.
Oh my. Yeah, we have to make that happen.
But she was just one of those people who I, like, instantly connected with.
Yeah. It's the energy. It's the energy. Definitely. What would you say to someone who's an attorney that's going through something like this, and still have to show up to work if they have their own law firm, because that doesn't stop. And to add on top of that, if they are parents, because you can't just say, "I don't want to be a mom today." That's not a thing. Yeah. What advice would you give them?
Yeah, well, um as far as being a mom, I mean, I feel like this experience has motivated me to be as present as I can be with my kids. I only have them half the time now, and so I have to be real intentional about how I spend that time that I have with them. Um, and that's just kind of it's come a little bit more naturally to me, I think, than I expected because I know while I was going through my divorce, it definitely was not the best mom. I was just so distracted. Um, I was so stressed. Um, but as a lawyer, I'm beyond grateful for my team. I don't know what I would have done if I were a solo practitioner and going through it at the same time. So I think just not only my team that I have, but my community of colleagues who not all of them, only a handful of them knew that I was going through it myself, but the ones who did really stepped in and were able to help me when I needed it. But my team was really incredible while I was going through it for sure. So surrounding yourself with the right people, I think is the most important, and cutting loose the ones that are not giving you the energy that you need and supporting you. You have to be really selective about what you are willing to give your time and your energy and your love to. And that is always. That's
That,
always. But when you have something that you're going through that is taking up the majority of your energy, it becomes really clear that you have to cut out anything that's extra
yeah.
just as a self-preservation.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. Okay, something more. We've had the sad stuff. Something's more fun. What do you do for fun?
Oh, man. Well, I've really been like this is not gonna sound fun to most people, but I've really enjoyed curating my space. And, my ex-husband's a great guy, and he never stood in my way of what I wanted to do in terms of decorating or anything, but I still tried to keep him in mind when I was making choices. So, um I don't know how great of a job he would say that I did with that. I don't think I steamrolled him sometimes, but he was always a good sport and just he knew that I loved picking things out and kind of feathering the nests and all that, but I've really enjoyed doing that more now because I spend a lot more time in my home now and I spend a lot more time alone in my home now. I'm just kind of looking around like, I could make this better. But I love to travel when I'm not especially if I don't have the girls, it can be sad to be in the house alone for sure, and so I like to get out. My whole family lives in Savannah, so I go down there a lot, and I just love being there and surrounded by all the old houses and the history, and it's just so beautiful there, so yeah, I love to travel. I read a lot, and I paint.
Oh, that's fun. I don't, but I love if you follow me on any social media, if I travel, just get ready. I'm gonna take a picture with a painting, with some mural somewhere. I am obsessed. So I always look for that. I always look for anything artsy because I can draw, I can't paint, none of that, but I really do enjoy them. So you have girls. Okay, what are they into?
Oh, they're better artists than I'll ever be. Yeah, they're amazing, both of them. And s
Good.
with
That's
so
everyone.
yeah, for sure. One my older so it's
That's great.
yeah, my older daughter is 14 and she's, more into the 2D art, the painting, the, um drawing. She's a sketch artist and a drawer before anything else. She'll paint. If you give her some paints, she'll paint, and she'll paint an amazing piece, but she likes to draw more than anything else. She does some animating, plays around with that. And the little one is more of a 3D artist. She's into sculpting. She's into I think she'll be my entrepreneur. If one of them is, it'll be her. Yeah. Yeah. She created um, these little things, she calls them binkies. I don't know why, but they're little, like, they look like rabbits, but apparently they're aliens, and I don't know. She made, like, little blind boxes, and there's, like, 13 of them so far, I think. So she's
You
yeah, yeah.
want something.
Yeah, yeah. So I think the older one will end up doing something in animation or character design or something like that. She wants to go to SCAD or RISD, or she wants to go to SCAD. I want her to look at RISD and CalArts and some of the other big art schools. But yeah.
That's amazing. I am so happy for you. And I won't tell my age. Well, I don't care. But it's really the best time. Like this, your daughters are born in the best time for them to be able to do that because there's so much available for them. In terms of, and they can be super creative and do things, and yeah, so that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. So we are about to wrap this up. But what is one thing that if you had a magic wand and you said, I think every attorney should have this, whether they should have it in law school, they should have it in their office, they should just have it in life, what would it be?
Um, that's a really hard question.
Well, what do you think what is your must have for you? Aside from the family and everything, what is something that you have to have?
My must have as a lawyer, um, I don't
Mm,
I don't know. I mean, I think
Me.
what's that?
Some people say coffee. I don't drink coffee.
Oh, coffee. Yeah, I think you know what? I think one this is my answer. One great friend who's also a lawyer who practices in a totally different area.
Yes, because they would literally just tell you the craziest thing that I agree. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Yeah, so mine is he practices property law and he does some HOA stuff too, but he's the most brilliant litigator I know. And I'll go to him with a divorce that's happening and I'll tell him the facts and he'll be like, "Why don't you just file a blah 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 motion?" And I'm like, "I don't know what is that motion?" And he's like, "You don't do that because we get in our boxes."
We do.
And it's the practice of family law is just general litigation. You can file any motion in family law that you can file in any other type of case, right? But we file our same like 5 motions
Sure.
and and nobody does anything outside of that box. But it's not that we can't, it's just that we don't know because nobody does them. So, yeah.
Well,
Yeah. But he's also great for perspective because we stay in if we stay in our bubbles and it becomes an echo chamber.
yeah.
And so, yeah, I don't like the idea of I'm also in like a couple different groups for entrepreneurs, that's really important to me too. Because I think that the masterminds that are just for lawyers again become echo chambers about this is how you run a law firm. And it's just like rinse and repeat. And that's not entrepreneurship is so creative and that takes all the creativity right out of it. And then it just kind of I think so many firms just kind of die. I see so many firms that are in these mastermind groups that are just a revolving door of employees because they lose their soul
They do.
to the formula.
Word, yes. And actually, something you said earlier, I think would be important. I asked you that question because I'm like, she already gave me the answer, but I'll ask her again because I was trying to pull something out of you. It's just having a team that you trust and that has your back. That is super important. If you don't have your own practice, then it's not going to be a team, but you just need to have that one person that you trust and that will tell you the truth, the hard truth, because sometimes when people work for you, I have one person on my team that I know, like, I would ask everybody, I'm like, okay, that's okay. Let me go ask Esther because she will tell me. Like, she will tell me. And this person is the reason, like, she changed my life because as a new attorney, I was like, oh, I'm new here, so I can't charge what everybody else is charging. I'm just going to do this. And she's like, listen, I work for this firm, and this firm. And let me tell you, you know more than all of these people. She's like, why are you charging this much? And sometimes you just need somebody to tell you. And sometimes she was like, listen, I don't think you're doing this the right way. And you have to be able to be open to receive that, right? Because some people say, be honest with me. And when you're honest with them, they take it personal and it doesn't go right. But I think every attorney needs to have either a good team that they trust, or they need to have that one person that would just tell them like it is. Yeah. And I think that would literally change your life. And when you go through moments and stuff, then you know you have people that have your back. That's super important. We know we show up to the courtroom and stuff like that, but we have a foundation. We have like the team is really what keep us going.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's that. This was so amazing. I never really kind of I never really know what to expect from having these conversations. And that's why I like to have them, because they always take me, I always get something out of this. But today you reminded me how important it was to have that team and to have that friend. And something that, I mean, I have a friend that practiced something totally different that I call all the time. I mean, he's a bulldog. And I guess I was taking him for granted at some point. But you sharing, I think your friend's name is Mike?
No.
Kelsey. Yes. So I think, sharing your experience with her just kind of remind me, like, I cannot take that for granted. So thank you for that. So before we go, can you tell us where to follow you, how to find you, where is your firm, and also for those of you, if you joining us late, what kind of law you practice?
Yeah. So my firm is Pepitone Family Law. We're based in Atlanta. We do all kinds of family law, divorce, custody, child support, all of it. Um, our website is www.pepitone.law. You don't have to say www anymore. It's like habit that tells people how old I am. Pepitone.law. Um, and you can find me on TikTok and Instagram, just my name. I think I'm the only one out there. There are some fakes now, apparently. You have people messaging me telling me somebody's impersonating me on TikTok, which I guess I made it. I don't.
Especially with TikToks. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. But if somebody tells you that they need money from you and they say they're me, it's not me.
Nah, never. Yeah, that's how they can separate the good from the bad. There's always some kind of money exchange. But once again, thank you so much for being on here. Um, I will definitely keep in touch. Once I go to Costa Rica and come back, I will make it my personal mission this year. I've been saying this for like 6 years, so I need to get down there. Yeah, I need to get down there. But we're going to wrap this up, and we'll put in your information once we drop the episode. People will be able to find your information in your link. I will tag you so everybody will know how to find you. No excuses. But thank you so much. Um, as we close this conversation today, I just want to remind everyone that, you are allowed to go through things. Everybody goes through stuff, and you still can be a good lawyer, a good mom, a good friend, as long as you take the step necessary to get yourself outside of that, whether it's a divorce, whether it's a breakup, whether it's a loss. These are transition and they are part of life. They make you human. And healing doesn't have to be perfect. It looks different for everybody. Healing could be you going to therapy, doing yoga, find something, doing salsa, whatever makes you happy, whatever's going to get you out of that funk. That's what you need to do. If this episode resonated with you, I invite you to share with your friend, share with a colleague. It could be helpful. And if you are a lawyer and you're thinking, or you're going through a divorce right now, just know this: you don't have to do this alone. You might have a friend that you can lean on, other colleagues that you can lean on, a therapist, and it's okay. It's part of life. It's not something that you want to happen, but it can happen. And just know that there are people out there who care about you and that are willing to help you. Thank you for being here and thank you for listening. Before we go, the most important question that we have to ask Ashley is lawyers have souls too, because how would you finish that sentence?
Oh, oh, lawyers have souls too, because I would say most of us are fixers before we're fighters. Most of us, um, are in it to help. I can't say all of us.
There's always a
But that's the same with any profession.
yeah, that's true.
That's the same with any profession, any population. Yeah, we all have souls, and most of us are tapped into them and are doing this for the right reasons. Yeah.
That's true. Once again, Ashley, thank you so much for being here. I will talk to you soon. I really, really appreciate having you, and I hope you have an amazing Sunday.
Thank you too.
Do something fun.
I'll try.
All right. Bye. Until next time. Bye, everyone. This was Lawyers Are Souls too, and I'll see you all next time. Take care.